It's Big Los, and today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/beat and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs, download a title free, and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/BEAT.
Boy, just be yourself. If people don't like you if you're being yourself, fuck them.
It's Big Los.
Hollywood Kev.
And welcome to another episode of The Noize with no lag. I'll tell that story later. If you haven't yet, follow us on the Big Three, and it's actually going to be really important to do so. We do have some announcements. At The Noize Podcast.
Starting the Pornhub. No, I'm playing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He meant OnlyFans. He already got it going. It's called Kev Dingo. Correct? Is it two words or one?
All one word.
All one word. Got you. Kev Dingo.
And the D is capitalized.
So it's just like, I was about to say, it's just like D'Angelo, isn't it? So Kev apostrophe
Yeah.
Dingo. Got you. So Kev Dingo at OnlyFans.com. I think that's how it works. But anyway, go ahead and follow us on the Big Three, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Noize Podcast. And of course, follow everything Beat Network at BeatNetworkOnline.com. Kev, my guy, how are you, sir?
What's going on, man? How you living? Always one of those days. You got the big joint.
Got shit to do, bro.
It's one of those days. I feel it. I feel it.
It has been so busy. Not going to work is the weirdest shit. Like, I've been more busy not clocking in at the brick and mortar than I have been actually going to work and then getting off and then doing beat shit, which I'm not mad at. I'm gonna be all the way honest with you, because this is what I want to do.
They say we're supposed to be opening up back soon, so you know.
Well, I mean, they want to kind of, speed the deaths up, if I feel it. Natural selection,
Right.
Get niggas up out of here.
Georgia trying to speed the deaths up.
Oh, they was out there wilding, dog.
Yeah.
It was all kinds of nigga energy out there, dog. It was real in the field.
They said the barbershop and hair salons was a 4-hour wait in line outside. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's nuts.
It's one of those times where I'm so proud to be bald because I just do this shit myself.
Yeah, it's funny. I see my barber like right before he jumped off, so I just kind of follow his line and just do the front, so it's straight, and I just leave it like that.
Just leave the rest Puerto Rican people's Hernandez.
Well, I'm growing my hair back out, so yeah, but yeah.
What you doing with it?
I'm gonna get it braided.
What? So you gonna get like the new era nigga braids where you're gonna like shave this whole side, braid just the top, and then bun it right up here?
No, it'd be regular ass braids.
Dog, you're 6'4". If you had those braids, 6'3", I'm sorry. If you had those braids, it would look like you was in the league.
No, I'm good.
You don't want to look like a rookie?
No.
Oh man. Any changes through the quarantine time?
Well, I moved. What's today? Today is Sunday. I moved Friday. Moved into a new place on Friday.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Other than that, man, it's been chill, man. I've been same old.
Yeah, man. No news is good news, man. I've been saying that since all this shit kicked off, because it seemed like every time they announce some new news, it's some new shit.
Exactly. It's some bad shit. Now they talking about this fucking killer hornets or some shit. What
Dog,
the fuck?
It seems like everything is just trying to like match one another. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, cool.
They all saying hold my beer.
Everybody's saying hold my beer. Apparently it's a shit ton of beers out here that niggas need held. Motherfuckers need to take more responsibility, hold themselves accountable for their own goddamn beer. But he keep trying to top one another. Have you seen any Murder Wasp yet?
No, thank God.
I was over here just trying to burp off mic, and I know the camera caught it, so it's fine. It's Quarantine Chronicles, goddammit. Quarantine Chronicles 4. I think I'm just going to stop like numbering these. They're just going to say The Noize Quarantine Chronicles.
Yeah. It's quarantine, yeah, fuck it. Until we're not in quarantine no more, then real titles.
Until we're not in quarantine anymore. Yeah. Till then, you will get the most half-assed efforts with titles.
But no, I haven't seen any, man, and thank God. So I'm happy about that.
Man, I know when they come, I ain't going outside. What is outside?
Right. They thought outside of codes now. Let them motherfuckers start flying around.
Shit. And then we going into the summer, so we about to just be sweating and constantly just letting out pheromones, letting the wasp know where all the good meals are at.
Right. Ooh, they cooking over there. Let's go.
Right. That's pork. Y'all got pork over there? We gonna see what's going on over here. Bzzz. Let's make this shit happen.
Meat. I like dog meat.
Oh man, good shit, man. Again, congrats on the move.
Thank you.
I've just been working. The same that we announced last week. We finally got done the 2-minute drill live, which I'm gonna share two sides of it. I will go with what's being told to me more, which could be bullshit. You know how people are. Everyone enjoyed it. The players loved it. The winner, of course, loved it with her $50 Postmates gift card, Gwen Neff. So congrats to her again.
Shout out.
People watching it said it was super fun to watch and it was, well put together. The main issue, which to me bothers me the most, was the audio. So
yeah, that's what I heard. A lot of saying that. I heard it was great. The audio was just kind of bad.
So, y'all know when it's my fault, I get on here and I take all the blame. So much so that motherfuckers keep telling me like, "Dog, quit being so hard on yourself." This is the first time where I'm like, "Nah, fuck these niggas," because and the same people we actually just tried to do this exact show, StreamYard. I went through them, and as Kev saw when we were just trying to do the show initially, it was lagging.
Yeah.
It was looking like a dubbed Chinese movie, and that shit just wasn't cool. So now rewind to the actual event. There was this echo that went from like a 5 second delay to a 5-minute delay.
Jesus Christ!
So it was weird because it kept playing like certain parts of the show while other parts were happening. And it wasn't.
That's terrible. That's trash.
And it wasn't doing that when because we did 3 practices. One with the team, one with some friends of mine, and one by ourselves. No problem, no echo, none of that shit. Once we brought all the players in, no lag, no echo, everything was literally perfect. The second I hit start streaming, echo. And I mean immediately after, like right after the intro got done playing, it was echo throughout the entire thing.
And there's nothing that you did, though. It was probably whatever interface they were working with over there.
And so I reached out to him and I asked, I was like, yo, what's going on? Because the first thing it said is, how was your broadcast? And you know me, I exactly. When I'm mad, when I'm already pissed off, I don't give a fuck what, comes out my mouth, or in this time, my fingers. So when they said, how was your broadcast? The very first thing I typed was reverb. Hella fucking reverb. And then there was another portion of it where for some reason one of the contestants couldn't hear Jay. So I had to kind of like drop their video out and bring them back in. It was just a big clusterfuck.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I felt super bad because at the end of the day, it still was something that was under the Beat Network umbrella. And I still take responsibility for it. It just sucks that I'm taking responsibility for something that I have no clue how I could have changed.
Yeah.
And when I reached out to him, boy, they was on some bold shit. This nigga gonna say some, I'm telling everything. But anyway, he's gonna say, you had too many applications open. Next time try just running Zoom. So I asked, I was like, but in order to use the screen share, you have applications open. So is the screen share only there just to be there, just to say, hey, look, we got screen sharing? Or did something go wrong? When I tell you these niggas, they checked it and then left me on red. I got left on red by a company.
What the fuck? Oh, hell no.
Because their communication thing is through Facebook. So I got left. So I saw that they saw it. And these niggas just didn't say anything. So I'm like, okay, so now we're no longer talking as businesses. We're no longer talking as professionals. Now we're talking as niggas. So after an hour of not getting a response, nigga,
hey, bro.
Exactly. I texted him the eyes emoji. Because I'm like, obviously, I'm talking to another motherfucker who's just out here living his life. So fuck that.
Right.
So the conversation went like mad left, and he just kept repeating, "Oh, you just had too many applications open." So I'm like, so how do you use the screen share without having the other application open? In order to share the screen, you have to open the application.
Right.
Well, we'll look into it. I'm like, it's some bullshit. I'm like,
fuck, burn y'all shit down. Fuck y'all.
So long story short, I get May for free.
What was this place called? What was this place? Or is there somebody name?
StreamYard.
Fuck y'all.
but we'll be using y'all again, but fuck y'all too.
I mean, y'all did give us a free month. Yeah, but fuck y'all.
I'm taking a month. But yeah, other than that, man, you know, I said it in the video. I said it in the post. I'm going to say it on here as well. To everyone who endured that reverb but still stuck out through, because we still had hella looks on it. I wish I'd have saw what the Facebook views looked like before I pulled the stream. Again, I was trying to figure out what the fuck was causing the reverb, so I stopped the Facebook Live. But, you know, it was hella people doing watch parties. I saw under Skylar's page, it was mad comments, mad interactions. They ended up dropping the link to the YouTube to finish watching the stream on YouTube. And a good chunk of the people went from the Facebook to YouTube to watch that stream. So I know all in all, that came out to like 108 views, which to me, you know, dealing with live.
That's big.
That's what I'm saying. Dealing with live and where we are, I'm more than happy with that. But I really wish I would have saw what the Facebook numbers were prior to all the audio bullshit. Because from my end, I was just seeing people dial in. Like I was just watching the view counter go up. And I'm like, dog, this is about to be big. And then shit happened. So.
Well, the only way to really find out is do the shit again.
Exactly. So there will be another 2-minute drill live hosted by the Back to the Classics boys. When, I'm not too sure. It won't be this week because we'll hopefully be announcing something tomorrow, Tuesday. Well, when this comes out, it will be Tuesday. That's what I'm saying. I'll say it tomorrow or Tuesday, but by the time this comes out, tomorrow will be Tuesday. So we'll probably be announcing something tomorrow for another streaming situation, but we want to run some more tests to kind of make sure we don't run into that exact same situation as before. But again, for everybody that endured, thank you. I appreciate the feedback. No, I had no clue there was reverb for everybody that brought up the reverb. And yeah, man, we just look forward to keep doing it. If y'all want to sign up, y'all know how to do it. And yeah, appreciate y'all. Announcements. One of the reasons why y'all need to start following the social medias is because we are bringing back merch.
Yeah.
We are bringing back Noize merch, not just the Noize merch. We are bringing back to the Classics merch. We are bringing Melanin Boulevard merch. And, of course, we'll have the regular Beat Network merch. They will be available for purchase next week. I can't really put a definite date on it just yet, but it will be next week because, of course, it has to go through the approval process and all the other great stuff. Obviously, we all are affected by this pandemic, and we all need money. So feel free to support what we got going on. I guess this is more so a find out how people feel, more so than an announcement. So we know that the Bone Thugs versus 3-6 Mafia versus battle is coming up on IG. We know that the Dr. Dre Diddy versus battle is being teased, and it's generating some conversation. We want to know how the ear hustlers will feel about us doing a live watch party through Facebook, streaming the actual battle itself, of course, with our chat heads there. We won't be butting in, throughout the competition and talking. And
right.
We strongly doubt you want to hear from us. However, we are going to be interacting with people in the comments of the stream itself. You'll just be able to see us. That's all. So we just want to know how y'all feel about us doing a watch party for the hip hop based verses. Let us know. Y'all can DM us. Y'all can leave it in the comments. Do whatever. Just let us know how y'all feel about something like that. And also, this will give opportunity for people that don't want to sit and watch it on their phone to sit and watch it on Facebook because we'll just stream it live there.
Yeah, that absolutely works. You know what I mean? Go ahead and fuck with us.
Might as well. All right, so I mean that's really it for announcement. You got anything you want to bring up?
No, OnlyFans. Check that out.
Kev apostrophe Dingo.
Mm-hmm. Capital D.
Capital D. Make sure it is case sensitive for some strange reason. So let's get into the show. This is the first time we actually had two headlines dealing with the same nigga. But if anybody would take advantage of this downtown to be in the news, it would be 50 Cent.
Of course.
Your guy, your spirit animal, if you will.
Yeah, definitely my spirit animal. Yep.
So we saw that he was on Big Boy's quarantine couch, and he said that he suggested battling Snoop Dogg instead of Ja Rule. The quote was, "It would make more sense catalog-wise. Me and Snoop." I just realized that quote was weird. It would make more sense catalog-wise, me and Snoop, because we could compete in every step of the way. Let me ask you, Kev. We had the conversation before with 50 and Ja will go head-to-head. It's two completely different sounds. It's two completely different audiences. It's just different. You know what I'm saying? So we'll ultimately be going.
That seems like the thing for Versuz, because it's a lot of battles that have happened so far where we like, it's different, but they do it, so.
It is now. I would definitely say when it began, before people.
When it began, no, it wasn't like that.
Like people were just, going hit for hit for cats that they were being compared to. Now it's like, now we just want to create a nostalgia run, which again, I still think is dope. I still think it's a solid look, and I still think it's something that, will generate views. But if it's a battle, it's kind of hard to critique when there's there's two completely different styles being involved.
Right.
So we had a conversation when it came down to 50 and Ja. How do you feel about Snoop and 50 going head to head?
Here's the thing. I understand what Fifth was trying to say. You know what I mean? Like, obviously Snoop's catalog is bigger than Ja, but Snoop's catalog is even bigger than 50's.
Oh yeah. With way more hits.
Right. Even though the sound isn't as much of a difference like a 50 and Ja, the sound is still a little bit different. 50's my guy. You know this. He would get his ass smoked.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
He will get it. He would get smoked. I think he probably had that because I think 50 probably wants to jump in there a little bit, you know what I mean, to get that love back. Snoop is definitely active on social media. And they're friends, you know what I mean? They boys. 50 and Ja, like, nah, you can't get them. You couldn't get them two niggas in the room, even virtually.
Dog.
Doing this, you know what I mean? Like,
they would get 3 songs in, and then 50 would play "I Smell Pussy," and they'll go from verses to just a whole ass argument.
Right, to a whole thing to niggas showing up at people's houses and shit. So nah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Again, I get what 50 was trying to say. You know what I mean? Like it would make more sense than 50 and Ja, but it still doesn't make sense. So I personally would of course watch it for the nostalgia and because I fuck with both of them, but 50 would lose.
Now, where I disagree with you, well, first of all, I start where I agree. Both with them being as active as they are on social media, it would be perfect. It probably would get those Teddy Riley babyface numbers because of, one, how active they are on social media, 2, their longevity and what they mean to hip hop, 3, the countless hits between these two niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would be just hit after hit after hit after hit. Like it would feel so fucking good at that. Where I disagree with you is that I think it would actually be a really good even matchup. The reason I say that is because they both, where 50 and Ja don't line up, which would be the style of records, 50 and Snoop will line up because they both will have the gangster records, they both will have the lady records, they both will have the smooth joints, they both would have the hard shit. You can put something with something.
No, I agree with that. I'm saying the catalog different. Like, you know what I mean? He picks Snoop keeps on like the catalog, right? I'm like, nah, Snoop catalog is still too big. That's the only thing I really. Other than that, I agree. I think it'll be a better matchup to me than Josh.
Okay, so then I misunderstood. My apologies on that one.
Yeah.
No, yeah, catalog wise, yes, Snoop can not use certain shit and still win.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think it's supposed to be 20 songs each. They do 10 with one person going first, and then the other one follows, and then they flip the order going into the final 10. Mm-hmm. Even though Snoop has a really, huge unmatched catalog, I think with 20 songs, 50 can really put up 20 solid records to have niggas like, ooh, yeah.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. He definitely could do that. But, I mean, the way I look at it is Snoop can put up 20 songs, and then if you don't like those 20 songs, give you 20 more. And
right.
Give you 20 more, and then give you, you know what I mean? That's the only bad difference for me. But you're absolutely right. 50 can put up 20 songs and do some shit. And if you know, like I know, he can put up 20 songs that people ain't even really heard, and she'd be like, ooh.
Absolutely. 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 One thing I would love to see from it, especially coming from Snoop, I would love to see Snoop just fuck the game up and put up a record with an unreleased Pac verse. You know he has one.
Oh,
he has a record that he never put out that had Pac on there. He throw that shit on there, it's over. Because you know what?
Especially if it got Dre drums.
Oh, that'd be a bad motherfucker, boy.
Yeah,
listen, because here's how I can see it happening, right? 50 is going to try to style on him by playing either Realest Killers with him and Pac or playing Realest Niggas with him and Big. And then Snoop will be like, well, shit, I got something for you ain't nobody heard. You know what I mean? And then boom.
I can see that happening.
And think about every time, all of these battles, someone has dropped some unreleased shit. And then that unreleased shit is all over the fucking music media the next day. Because with Lil Jon debuting that unheard Sex Beat record with Usher and Luda, now all of a sudden Sex Beat is charting. Mm-hmm. Back way before that monster's fucking me up. Way before the pandemic. Who was it? Swizz Beatz and Just Blaze?
No, Swizz and Tim.
Was it Swizz? It was Swizz and Tim. Okay. Yeah, it was Swizz and Tim.
They
one of those.
Do it again. I'm gonna catch it this time. They're gonna do it again.
Oh yeah, under the Versuz label, that shit would be raw. But it was either Swizz and Tim or Swizz and Just Blaze. But one of those, Swizz debuted an unreleased DMX record. And then that shit got big once they released it in full. So I think they're going to utilize that time that they know they got all this.
I can definitely see 50 and Snoop like jumping in this thing. Like I can see that.
I'm digging all the Versuz series, man. I'm very curious to see what happens when the world opens back up because we're discovering so many new forms of media and we're digesting media in so many different ways now that I'm curious to how they're going to take advantage of this coming out of this because this could literally be a show. I feel like if we have Dancing with the Stars.
You know what? You might be on something right there.
I should have kept that in the pocket. Should have kept that in the holster.
Right? Well, no, I mean, because you say you're curious to see how once the world opens back up, how it's going to be. Obviously, people aren't going to be able to really be at home on their phone as much. So, what else do you do to get people to watch it? Just throw it on TV.
Right.
Throw it on TV. The audio be better. You can probably get both people. Well, depending on whatever guidelines they got, you probably can get both people in the same building and have them not necessarily do a DJ set, but it'd be way better than an aux cord and whatever at home. You know what I mean? I can see that really happening.
You know what I could really see with it? I can see them doing that shit on Netflix.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Setting it up in a way like what was the hip hop show they just had on Netflix?
Rhythm and Flow.
Rhythm and Flow. Setting it up just like that to where they don't drop it so you can binge. They literally just drop an episode every week.
I can see that. Absolutely. The only reason why I'm kind of going the other way, I think MTV would pick it up only because MTV got a bigger bag.
Then Netflix? Well, yeah, the Viacom bag is pretty big. The only reason I think Netflix would get it first is because they know that first of all, the streaming numbers will go up, so they can offer an insane bag. Two,
True.
MTV music ain't really their thing anymore.
Right, music is not their thing, but when something comes about and it's music related, they jump on it. But the way I look at it is they'll be able to offer a bigger bag, and whoever in the music, they have rapport with MTV. You know what I mean? So I think it's a little bit. I think that maybe Netflix can get it, absolutely, but I think MTV might have a little bit of an edge because they have a rapport. They've been around for so long, and because they got money. But I can definitely see Netflix jumping on it.
Either way it go, I feel like if they offer whoever picks it up, they offer the right bag, we can see some legendary battles. If they brought this shit to television, it could literally be a new hip hop format. We're like, cool.
Yeah.
We're kind of taking it back to the traditional values of where hip hop started with the head to head, with the battles and shit like that. Like, nah, my crew versus your crew, nigga. Show me your best 4 count. Let me see how you get down.
Exactly. Yeah, it's you on to something, man. It could really be something. We'll see when the world opens back up, but it could really be something.
In the words of Hollywood Kev, holla at me. Get at me.
Yeah.
Talk to your boy. We got some real shit cooking over here. Kind of staying in line with 50. I feel bad for Ja Rule.
Why is that, sir?
Because first of all, Ja Rule said on Twitter, y'all gonna stop with this false narrative that 50 killed me. So that's why I feel bad for Ja Rule. That exact sentence right there, because nigga, I saw you. I watched it happen.
We
seen it. It was on TV. It was on the radio. We watched one man end a record label.
Yeah.
Because once you were down, Murder Inc. was down. Once you were down, Charlie Baltimore wasn't about to save Murder Inc. Wasn't nobody checking for a Cadillac Tie album. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? What was the other nigga name? The one that stabbed 50? Black Child?
Black Child, there we go, yep.
Nobody wanted a Black Child album. Nobody. Nope. So yes, 50 destroyed you. Now, was it with music? No. But he absolutely destroyed you by kind of exposing who you were. But it is weird that, that's another reason why I feel bad for Ja. It is weird that Drake is literally the king of hip hop right now, even though he's pop. He's the king of hip hop right now, doing the exact same thing.
That is tough. If you Ja and you sit back, you're like, ain't this a bitch? That is tough. But I think, don't get me wrong, Drake definitely has people not liking him, his enemies or whatever you want to call it. But I think he's more likable than Ja. Like, people can really be like, all right, I fuck with this corny nigga way more than they'll fuck with Ja corny ass. So I think that's what kind of bit him there. I feel like in that industry, yes, you do have to make music. You do have to make the right business move. But I also think you got to have the right relationships.
Okay. So you're talking about from a business standpoint, like Ja Moore, like Drake Moore. Yeah.
I think on the business standpoint, they like him more. Even on a personal standpoint, they may feel that they can go kick it with him and it'd be cool a little bit more than what they did with Ja. You know what I mean? Ja, his whole thing, at least coming from 50, his whole thing was his tough guy persona. So if you rocking with a dude, if you hanging out with a dude that 24/7 he acts like a tough guy, eventually you're gonna be like, man, sit your punk ass down.
Nah, I feel like hanging out with Ja, you're gonna be sitting around as soon as it get quiet, you be like, y'all remember this record? And then put on like Always on Time or some shit. Like
that's what I do.
Like he has to play like his biggest records to feel good in the conversation. And like at the most random times.
He might. I personally I don't feel too bad for him because a lot of, don't get me wrong, yes, watching a man in the record label that on the surface, I mean, once you got more into it, you knew shit happened, but on the surface, it was like he didn't do nothing. But a lot of it, Ja did to himself. Ja said a lot of stupid and did a lot of dumb shit over the years. So,
yeah.
Hey, man, it's kind of on you at this point.
And that's how I look at it. Like, I felt like he played too much into the beef, and he didn't have the streets with him. He tried to become a street nigga, and the streets was not there because that's not what you were doing. You were giving us the love ballads. You were giving us the singing nigga with the bad voice. Like we weren't getting this hard Ja that you eventually tried to become, but we weren't buying it then. And shit, and
that's exactly why I think people probably fuck with Drake more than Ja, even though they're doing the same thing. Because Drake doesn't give that. He doesn't try to go out and be a tough guy.
He tries to. He tries.
Not like Ja did.
That's facts. I mean? Call himself a murderer, absolutely.
So I think that's why. And then one of the bigger things, especially in our community, if you're from the hood, if you put on that you're a tough guy, we either expect that you're a tough guy or we'll be like, man, this nigga's a fraud. We ain't fucking with him. So Ja coming from that cloth or that background, you know what I mean, in the hood, he did this, and the hood was just like you said, the streets wasn't fucking with him, opposed to a Drake who, he can act like a tough guy, but Drake wasn't in nobody's hood. You know what I mean?
Nah,
so
nobody's.
People can probably fuck with it a little bit more.
I can see that.
How I look at it.
No, I can see that, and a lot of points I can agree with it as well. I'm curious because when you look back at Ja and 50's beef, and I've said this on the show before, and I'm gonna say it again because we're here talking about it again. The fact that we're still talking about 50 and Ja, I don't know if it's funny or if it's sad or it's just a slow media week. it's one of the three.
A combination of all of them.
A solid combination of the three. But you looking at the beef that 50 and Ja have, I wish there was some way we could find out the full timeline, because
as far as them beefing,
just because we can get told, everything. We can get told anything, and it's like they always say: there's your side, my side, and the truth. I want to see the truth, because Ja's whole thing was he gave 50 a head nod, and then that kicked off the beef. 50's whole thing was, I didn't like Ja speaking for the streets, and he wasn't a street nigga. So he made the Life Is on the Line record, and Murder Inc. just tried to shut down 50's complete, rise in New York.
From what I know, it started even before then.
Right, but I'm saying that's what was put out. You know what I'm saying? Those were the two main stories. Like, if you go and listen to niggas that are connected with them interview who didn't really give a fuck about, telling the truth, you'll get all kinds of different stories. I just want one cohesive timeline of what the problem was. Like, somebody take the time to compile all the interviews. I mean, shit, I guess we could technically do it if you want to, but compile all the interviews, compile all the articles, all that shit. And give us a legit timeline, like what started it, and we can't say what ended it. We just know how it ended. That shit was raps. Like, this nigga disappeared. Nobody was checking for Murder Inc. shit no more.
Yeah, that nigga really did disappear. Like just gone.
Right. Hey, but
he makes fire festivals.
Now he tries. He puts forth his best effort to try to make the fire festival pop off. But yeah, I guess we're not feeding this false narrative that 50 Cent ended this name. We just know. We just know what happened.
Right, yeah, we were there. Know.
We were there. Kind of getting back to the Versuz series. I found an article on Complex saying that T-Pain is floating the idea to team up with Lil Jon for a post-pandemic Crunkchella tour. So according to the interview with Variety, T-Pain is talking about taking that same playlist and utilizing it for a tour headlined by him and Lil Jon.
Now, if this was BC before Corona, I fuck with. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't understand necessarily how to move once this shit is over. Because
that's the gotcha.
You know what I mean? They can find a vaccine tomorrow. I'm not going outside.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the new iPhone. I gotta wait for them to kind of work out the bugs and shit first, and then rock with it. So I don't know, but no, if he uses that same set list that they were using together, is that what you mean?
So they will basically be co-headliners, from what I read from the article.
It can be solid. It can definitely be something. Because I mean, as we've seen in the battle, Lil Jon still had that I don't know what you call it. He still had that in him that made you want to, you know what I mean?
I don't know what that is, but he had that shit.
He had that, you know what I mean? He was playing old songs and he was like, yo, this shit bang. I want to get out there. And T-Pain he's T-Pain. He's a legend. So it'll be a great show however they decide to do it.
But see, that's kind of the thing that I was talking about in the beginning, like seeing how people are going to take the popularity of what's going on with Versuz and apply it to when the world finally opens up again. That personally, I think it'd be dope. I think it'd be dope, especially considering what the Millennium Tour did and what the Millennium Tour 2 was about to do. My headphones all fucked up. And what the Millennium Tour 2 was about to do. I would love to see it. And I think this will help, trying to get my word correct, I guess, reestablish the appreciation for T-Pain.
Yes, I do feel like he's underappreciated.
Like we were, somebody had posted to the Turn My Mic Up page about, who are those dudes that just made, whose voice on that hook just made that song better. And of course I was like, obviously you got to go with the originator, the GOAT, Nate Dogg, and as an extreme close second, T-Pain. For a good 5-6 years, if you wanted a hit, you went and grabbed Pain.
Yeah.
You went and grabbed Pain.
I might even, absolutely grab Pain, but I throw Chris Brown on the hook too, and it'd be something.
Oh yeah, well there's a bunch of people. You throw Chris Brown on the hook and you got yourself a hit. Shit, give Chris Brown a verse and you're gonna have a hit as well. Ty Dolla $ign, I think he has that Nate Dogg baton right now. Had it for a little bit. He's been kind of quiet.
Depending on the song, you might be able to throw Drake on the hook and he make something happen.
I don't know.
I said depending on the song. Depending on the song.
Oh well, no, I'm not saying from a point of like actual ability. I'm thinking like because from what the post was, it was more so hooks. I don't think Drake is that hook guy anymore. I think now if you get a Drake verse, your shit gonna bubble. But for that hook, you know what I'm saying, where you got the salt, you got the pepper, and that hook just to add some accent to that motherfucker, I think that is kind of the lane that they were going for with that post. I could be wrong. They could correct me when they finally watch this.
But no, I either way, I can still rock with. I can see Drake. I see what you mean. You're right about that.
You know who's coming up in the rankings? Even though, let me fix this sentence actually. Somebody that I think should start to enter that conversation, but is criminally slept on, Anderson .Paak.
Oh yeah, you're right. Dead ass right.
Every hook that man has hopped on, he's bodied. The shit he did with Game, that shit felt good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
you're absolutely right. Hell, on the TV they was playing a song by Anderson .Paak where I think it's just a hook and he's doing the hook. Like I'm like, you don't see that, especially not from a hip hop artist. Especially
not from a hip hop artist. And shit, you even look at the shit he did with Mac Miller, that dang record. Mm-hmm. Granted, Mac was spitting, but without that hook, without that bop, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah.
Or with the hook he had with that the young boy, that YBN Corday.
Yep. Yeah, my guy, you're right there with me. That one of y'all niggas call me fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? That's my shit, dog.
He killed that shit.
Yeah, man. I think he needs to be more in the conversation than what he is. Who else would you say?
What if they did a hook battle?
That'd be nasty.
You know what I mean? Like the songs where they were featured on the hook, and you just do hits like that.
Well, okay. So here's the fucked up part about it, right? That would be nasty, and that will also be huge but then that'll also be an ego blow because now you have to admit you're a hook artist.
Well, what if you just like you had a hook artist run? What if somebody just had a hook artist run? Or but would it matter if you consider if you let's say you had a solid hook catalog, but you also have a solid album catalog? Would it really matter? You know what I mean? Like would it matter if T-Pain has had a couple good albums? Would it matter that he's on hooks and that's killing? Like, do you think he would care?
I think T-Pain would care. I don't think Future would care. I don't think Ty Dolla $ign would care. Honestly, I don't think Anderson .Paak would care. But the only reason I think T-Pain would care is because T-Pain's like main agenda is to get people to appreciate him again.
That is very, very true.
And it's going to be impossible to have a hook battle and not get T-Pain. Like that nigga ran an era of hooks.
Absolutely.
But
I do feel bad for T-Pain.
Oh yeah,
I don't feel bad for Ja, but I feel bad for T-Pain because he don't get the credit he deserves.
He said, Ja, not so much. T-Pain, salute that man.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think Crunchella will be super fucking dope. Crunchella will also open up the same app. Like when we had the conversation when they announced the Millennium Tour, like this is for that 2000 to 2006, you know what I'm saying, era. That whole, middle school to high school time, at least for our generation. And they were tapping into that nostalgia bubble. I think.
Do you think they make new songs if they do this?
Oh yeah. I could see them opening up with a new record that they did together.
That'd be dope.
Opening up a new record. Go ahead.
They would have to really fix outside for me to go out there. But if they were to pull this off, this would be dope.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they would have to fix the shit out of outside.
They gotta fix that shit.
Because I ain't trying to go out there. I got the Rona, but I got to see Crunchella. I'm not ready to go down for Lil Jon and T-Pain.
Nah.
I'm not ready to call it quits just yet.
Nah.
But I think it'd be a solid feel-good concert. Even if they decided to literally battle on stage instead of having one set clearing out and then having another set, if they decided to have a whole Crunchella and then close out with them doing a head-to-head battle of these records, kind of like the way that JD and Lil Jon did for the So Death 20th anniversary. I don't know. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I just missed it.
There was a set that JD and Lil Jon was going back and forth because, of course, Lil Jon did a lot of work with a lot of the people that JD worked with. So they were able to have like a cool little battle. And I thought that shit was dope. And me and Scott was even talking about, like, you really sit here and think, you really sit here and realize how much work these niggas have done together, both being from Atlanta, even shit that you don't know. You know what I mean? So I think that'd be a solid ass idea.
Even if Atlanta, obviously we can say Atlanta's probably, we can say they're running music right now. They're at least putting out the most, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Atlanta's been putting out hits for a long time.
Atlanta has not taken their foot off of the game's neck. I think that the West Coast is slowly trugging along to, getting back to that place, but they're still behind. Right. I'm kind of sad, even though, as people tell us all the time, we have a West Coast bias. I'm kind of saddened that the East Coast is so far behind musically right now.
It's like they stopped.
It's like it just fucking stopped, and it stopped to the point that when you hear artists like Griselda giving you that old school Locks Wu-Tang feel,
it's a breath of fresh air.
It's a breath of fresh air, but it falls on deaf ears. I said deaf ears. It falls on deaf ears because it's a sound that's not really wanted. So it's like, okay, so how do you represent your coast? How do you represent your state, but your sound isn't wanted? Like
I think you just got to keep putting out music. Your sound isn't going to be wanted by everybody, but you just got to keep putting out music, and eventually that shit will cut through.
Oh yeah. Because at first I was thinking like, okay, some people that really kind of, was reestablishing the East Coast was Slaughterhouse, but then I stopped and I was like, they still had a West Coast cat, and two, there was no coastal sound to their music. It didn't sound like Jersey, it didn't sound like Brooklyn,
no coastal,
but it also didn't sound like LA. You know what I mean?
Absolutely right.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of a hot take question. Do you think that boom bap New York style is dead?
Nah, not at all. Because especially not, at least right now, I kind of see. I would think that there would be a resurgence of it because people now are starting to get tired of the same old shit that's been put out there. You know what I mean? They want something with a little bit more substance, at least from what I see. They want something with a little bit more substance. So I don't know if necessarily that particular genre would be peak form like it was, but it's not dead.
So let me revamp the question because I know it's going to be taken the same way it was when I said hip hop is going to be dead. Do I think East Coast artists will still be making East Coast music? Absolutely. Do you think mainstream East Coast hip hop is dead? Because if you take the listeners right now, the people that create the stadium rappers are the mainstream.
Yeah. If I'm going mainstream, as of right now, I have to say so because I can't think of any mainstream East Coast artist who is actually out there.
I'd say Ferg took the baton from Rocky, but they don't make.
But he's not out there though. When the last Ferg song you heard?
Yeah, it's been some time.
You know what I mean? Like yes, they can be good artists, but they're not out there. They're not out there like you're like shit. Anybody from the South, they're not out there like that. They're not like anybody from the West. They're not out there like that. So commercially, then yes, you're definitely on to something. You definitely may have had a point. It's one of those things, especially with those type of artists, where if you know, you know. You know what I mean? Like Griselda's not going to be on the radio, but if you listen to them, you know that them niggas is a problem. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
You're right. I think you're right. As of right now, today, main East Coast music is dead.
Because like when you really look at it, East Coast is really the only subgenre that what their sound and their swag from a mainstream standpoint, I got to make sure I speak correctly with this. From a mainstream standpoint, has changed. It's changed completely. West Coast, we still have people like YG. We had people like Nipsey Hussle. We got Kendrick. We got the whole TDE camp. There's still that traditional Dr. Dre West Coast influence in West Coast hip hop right now. The South,
absolutely.
The South has yet to change their shit. It has been the most consistent fucking stream of music from the South since they took over in like 2004. East Coast went from, like I said, that boom bap, Biggie, Nas, you know what I'm saying? Fast forward to what Diddy kind of turned it into, where it still had that boom bap, but it was a little more upbeat, a little more feel good. Right. But now it's to the point, like I said, ASAP Mob changed the whole style of New York. Nothing about Tekashi 6ix9ine says New York at all. All that, like all of them have.
I didn't know he was New York until like later on.
Exactly. Like all of their shit now sounds like it could just be a subgenre of the South. You know what I mean?
You're right about that. You're right about that.
So it's interesting to see that now when you have people like Griselda who will get love, but not necessarily the love that they deserve, especially having such a giant like Shady and Interscope backing them.
Yeah. Man, I'm a firm believer history repeats itself. So if they can keep making quality music, eventually they'll cut through. But you're right. As of right now, this very moment, there isn't anybody that's East Coast that's on top like that, or not even. They don't have to be on top, but that you're checking for.
Yeah, that's the point that you're checking for. Exactly. And if it is the East Coast nigga that you're checking for, you kind of got to be reminded that they're from New York. Like, oh, are they?
Or it's one of those things where, like, if you know, you know. You know what I mean? Like,
boom.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Or they're just going to be a non-coastal anything like Freddie Gibbs. Like, you think Gary, Indiana? It's like, who is he supposed to sound like?
when he said Gary, Indiana, I was like, damn, this nigga's from the gutter. He's nice.
The only other person from Gary I know is Michael Jackson.
Exactly. That's the only person. And he ain't from the gutter.
He ain't from the gutter at all. You may have got beat like he was from the gutter, but
Right.
Hey man, get some hidden talents in Gary. We probably gonna see a whole resurgence coming out of Gary.
I guess so. I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
I'm pretty sure there's a trash local mixtape of Gary artists out there somewhere, though. Where it's like, nigga, put Gary on the map, nigga. We the home of Mike Jackson. Like, that's not.
It's probably on SoundCloud or something. You just type in Gary, Indiana, and just random shit pop up.
And it's just it's a picture of the state with like this big gangster extreme looking X over Gary, Indiana, and whatever hood nickname they have for Gary, Indiana, G Airy.
G Airy, hell no.
G
apostrophe Airy.
Airy, capital A. So yeah, make sure I got that G Airy mixtape. We got to see who the next hood stars coming out of Gary, Indiana. Last thing, and this one actually be quick. I just found it very interesting because of its success, but it also makes sense because a lot of his fan base are also connected to this platform. So Travis Scott did like a whole concert on a virtual concert rather on Fortnite. Mm-hmm. Apparently, it was set up that you had to play through a certain. I'm not familiar with Fortnite at fucking all. So for any Fortnite player that's listening or watching this, one, how did you find us? And two, my bad, but I'm not familiar with Fortnite whatsoever. So apparently you have to like kind of play through to come up on the actual concert itself. And according to this, it was the astronomical virtual concert. 12 million concurrent players participated live. 12 million. And that's how you know Fortnite got money, because their servers didn't even crash.
That's nuts.
12 million players, dog, and he put on a whole virtual concert with special effects. But it wasn't him. It was a digital hologram, I guess you could say.
Right, yeah. I seen a little clip where it was like him, like super big, and like you can watch and stuff like that. And it don't get me wrong, like of course this is a video game, all the lights and stuff like that. It looked like it was definitely entertaining. I didn't watch it or anything. It looked like it was entertaining, but 12 million?
12 million.
That's something to be proud of.
That's definitely something to be proud of, and it's also something to really take into account. Imagine if they dog, remember when they were trying to make hologram concerts a thing?
Mm-hmm, the hologram Pac. They did a hologram somebody else too.
They were gonna do a hologram Prince and take it on tour.
You're right. But Prince was like, nah, fuck that. Did they do it? Did they do a hologram Outkast or something, or 3000? I don't know why I feel like they did that. I don't know, but they did a few. Yeah, I remember that.
But they wanted to do these hologram tours. They can capitalize off this shit now. Just start doing these virtual concerts. Like, granted, I don't think it would work through Fortnite, but doing like some kind of virtual concert to where you have to be a part of some kind of system to go watch this rendered version of an artist performing. If y'all were gonna go live with virtual with hologram concerts, you clean up at a virtual concert. You ain't got to charge for it. Just allow motherfuckers to donate while it happens. And like during this pandemic, motherfuckers can really take advantage of the second screen and then really pull some numbers.
Right now, in the current state of things right now, yes, absolutely they can take advantage. I think eventually people are going to yearn for, hey, I want to be next to the motherfucker I'm performing to. So I think eventually it'll probably die out. But as of right now, you're absolutely right. They can take advantage of that, like completely take advantage of that. And if they're being business minded, you're absolutely right. They can, all right, I don't know, to get whatever game and get whatever artist tied to this game, and he can put on the concert, and that's going to bring more people to your game. So on a business standpoint, absolutely, these companies can clean up. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. They're definitely missing their post right now. Yeah. What would be a virtual concert you want to see if put together like solid? You said none of them. If you had any interest in a virtual concert, who would you want to see?
I really don't know. I can't think of none right now. Only because if I'm going to a concert, you know what I mean, I'm the type of person where I would like to be in the same room as a person, not only because I just want to be next to the person, but I feel like I'm in the moment there, you know what I mean? For all we know, Travis Scott recorded this shit 3 days ago and they decided they was putting it out. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be in the moment. I want to be there. So if you fall and bust your ass, I'm in the moment for that. I want to be in the moment for actually hearing your voice and seeing your real reaction to shit. You interacting with fans and different stuff like that. I want to be in the moment for stuff like that. So I personally wouldn't be interested in them like that. Or put it this way, I wouldn't mind seeing a Travis Scott virtual concert, but just not on Fortnite.
Okay.
I go there.
I am there with you. I wasn't interested in the hologram concerts or anything like that.
I don't want that.
Like, to me, it is just it's a lot of effort for not that much of, I guess, residual
I feel like
comeback.
They don't capture the fan experience.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You know what I mean? And I feel like the fan experience is a part of the show, whether the artist knows that he's giving the fans that type of experience or not. It's part of the show. You know what I mean? So, yeah. When I went to Rihanna concert, I was able to ogle over her in person semi. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that over no fucking video game.
He said, I was able to tell her I love her and to marry me. She may not have heard it. She may have heard it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I check my DMs, you know what I'm saying?
Right. She looked in my direction. I don't know if she was looking at me or not, but either way, it felt like it.
She looked at me. I blew a kiss. She received it. She did a twerk after that. She
caught it. She put it in her pocket. She saved it.
Oh, yeah, you can't just take that on stage. You know what I'm saying? I feel that. I understand that.
She wasn't trying to share my kiss with the whole stadium.
But I do think it's a solid fucking thing. I do think that for a certain audience, I think that's an amazing idea, and I think it's a solid way to really keep people engaged, and again, to keep people inside. That's like one of the main things. Like I feel like our generation, like we're in that one little cusp of time that we're listening to this shit. You got old white people that are ready to bust the fuck out and be out in these streets again. And then you got young niggas doing what they did in Georgia. I think we're just right inside that cusp of
we're right
listening.
Yeah.
So you'll keep us inside. Just make sure we do something along those lines.
Yeah.
But I would be curious. Like I don't necessarily want to see one, but I would be curious to how they would pull one off with the technology that they have now. I'd be curious to see how they could pull one off.
Pull a virtual concert?
Yeah. And not just in the span of because where it works with Fortnite is that it was a part of the adventure. You know what I'm saying? So I would be curious to see how they would do that with everything else. Because again, 12 million people is nothing to slouch at. That's 12 million
at all.
Like, think about Travis Scott. We'll just stick with Travis Scott right now. We watched him go from a relative unknown to a stadium filler. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was able to go on tour with Kendrick and then eventually broke off from that and went on his own stadium tour. This nigga, he ultimately did something that no one has done. Granted, it's different because it was virtual, but he had a concert with 12 million people at it.
Yeah, that's never been done before.
You know what I'm saying? I would just love to see how people would take that, flip it, and make it work to their advantage today. I'd be very curious to see that.
Yeah, it'd be a sight to see. I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out. Pretty sure they're probably already working on it.
They always do. I guess we can go ahead and wrap this thing up. Kev, let people know where they can find you, bro.
Hollywood Kev __ on Twitter. I think same. Yeah, that's it.
At Big Los IG on IG, Big Los 89 on Snapchat, and of course at the Noize Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Again, thank you to everybody who tuned into the game. Be on the lookout for the new merch. It'll be on the Beat Network website, beatnetworkonline.com. Probably will be /merch, realistically. But yeah, just keep a lookout for it. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we appreciate the support. And as always, Big Los.
Hollywood Kev.
It's the Noize.